Well, I didn't turn it off at least. Hey everybody, Ryan Reed here. In case you couldn't tell, I literally just woke up like 30 minutes ago. And that's because I stayed up late last night watching the new Netflix Adam Sandler movie, Hubie Halloween. And I'm going to start off this video by saying I am not one of those people to jump on the let's hate Adam Sandler bandwagon. Admittedly, most of his movies in the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years have not really appealed to me. Nothing has really stood out to me as interesting, and a lot of them have not been particularly good. We're talking about his comedies, not something like Uncut Gems, which admittedly I still haven't seen either, but I've heard nothing but good things. I think Adam Sandler is a talented guy, and I think he can do really good work, but I also think he just likes making movies with his friends, and that's okay. Ultimately, if people are watching it and people are getting entertainment out of the movies, even if they're not particularly good, who am I to say whether Adam Sandler should, I'm not going to stop making movies. I'm not going to be the authority going, oh, Adam Sandler's terrible. Comedy is very subjective. So, whether his movies are good or bad, that's up to you. But I will say the last Adam Sandler live action film, excluding the Hotel Transylvania movies, the last live action film I think I saw him in was The Ridiculous Six when that came out on Netflix. And that was because I had a roommate at the time who for some reason really wanted to watch it, and we watched it. It was terrible, admittedly. I've seen that one, so I can say it was not a good movie. But all his other Netflix films I haven't seen, except for this one. This one caught my eye because it is a Halloween movie. And again, I don't hate Adam Sandler, or I'm not one of those people to be like, oh, Adam Sandler's terrible. He's made some movies that have really made me laugh. And yes, something like Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore, while still juvenile humor, is way smarter juvenile humor, if that makes sense. His later films, from the clips I've seen and from like I said, the Ridiculous Six and the few that I have watched, are more just kind of juvenile humor that's low-hanging fruit. It's really stupid. It's really easy laughs. And at least the other films, while still stupid, were intelligently stupid. I know that's kind of a oxymoron, I guess, but they were smartly written to be stupid, if that makes sense, and that's okay. Stupid humor can be very entertaining. Now, to get a few things out of the way about this movie, about Hubie Halloween, before we really dive into the movie, yes, I'm just gonna say this right now. All of the Adam Sandler tropes you can think of, they are still in this movie. In spoiler alert, I guess, for a few little things, but like, again, if you've seen any Adam Sandler movie, you've seen them all. But he plays a weird character, and of course there's a normal woman who's absolutely in love with him for no reason. All his friends make cameos. There are celebrity cameos. There are product placements in the movie that are blatant. But to be fair, there was only one major one I saw. At one point, the movie just stops to discuss Kit Kats. For a minute or so, just to be like, hey, Kit Kat gave us money. but like all those kind of tropes and all those things you expect out of an Adam Sandler movie, they're in this movie. But I think this movie kind of raises above terrible into okay territory. Which isn't a bad thing necessarily. In case you haven't seen anything about this movie, it's a new Adam Sandler Netflix movie. It's called Hubie Halloween. Basically, it takes place in Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween night. There's this weird character that Adam Sandler plays named Hubie Dubois, and he is basically terrified of everything, but loves Halloween. And so he makes it his mission every Halloween to, make sure people are safe and obeying Halloween rules and things like that. He's most similar to, like, Sandler's The Waterboy, I guess, is the closest comparison. He's a little different, and he mumbles even more in this movie than Sandler did in The Waterboy. And so there were literally one or two moments where I'm like, I have no idea what he just said. But overall, I do think the character works. It's stupid, yes, but the character's kind of lovably stupid. He's not mean-spirited. It doesn't seem like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like Sandler's, making fun of anybody or anything like that in terms of this character. The character is just kind of like a lovable goof. just this weird kind of guy who's happy and nice to everybody, and loves Halloween, but just scares very easily. And you can make the point that Sandler playing this character, this kind of like juvenile character, at like 50 is kind of dumb versus him being like 25, into his early 30s. It kind of worked a little bit better. But I still think this character works for what it's intended to be. But anyway, in the plot, something goes wrong, and basically it's up to Hubie to save the day, as you would expect. The movie's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. The first. It's one of those movies where, like, for every one good joke, there's like 5 terrible ones that follow, or lazy ones that follow. A good example, I won't spoil it, but there's a great cameo at the beginning of the movie. That's kind of a callback to some other Sandler movies, and the first minute is pretty funny, but then it's followed up immediately by like a vomit joke a minute later, and it's like not like a clever vomit joke. And here's the thing, like, bodily humor jokes can be funny when they're well crafted. This isn't one of those. It's just somebody throwing up, and it's like, that's not inherently funny. What's funny is a good setup and a punchline. If your setup is good and your delivery of a vomit joke or a fart joke or things like that is well done, it can still be funny. In this, it's not. It's just lazy. But then you'll get like a smart, like, written joke. I mean, at least to me, again, humor subjective, but like, there's a point where Sandler's talking to his potential love interest, and he asks how her ex-husband is doing, and he does this very Sandler character. And she goes, well, we've been divorced for 4 years, so honestly, I don't really know how he's doing. And he goes, well, that's okay, you're going to get through this. I'm doing a bad Adam Sandler impression, but he says, well, that's okay, you guys are going to get through this rough patch. And that was a terrible delivery of that joke, but it actually works fairly well in the movie, and it's very funny. It actually, despite me being tired right now, it is admittedly funny. The jokes just kind of work when they're well written. But then again, you'll follow up with a fart joke, or something lazily written that doesn't really work as well, or a joke that they kind of like continuously try and like throw out there and be like, isn't this funny? Isn't this funny? And it's like, no, it's not. You guys had funny moments. But again, I don't want to completely like trash this film, because there is some really good elements about it. It feels like a Halloween movie. That's one of the things I really love. The atmosphere in the movie is really good. If you're like wanting a film that like feels like Halloween, that gets you in that Halloween spirit, this is actually a pretty good film for that. The colors pop really well. I think they shot it in July when I was doing some research on the movie, but it feels like fall. And it feels like fall in like Massachusetts, I mean, or the East Coast in general. And it works, actually. So, and then there are, some more kind of scares, I guess you'll say. But the movie kind of throws in everything about Halloween into one thing. There's trick-or-treating, there's a haunted house, there's monsters potentially, there's a serial killer who's escaped, there's like all kinds of stuff. And on that note, it works fairly well, and I kind of like those aspects of the movie. And again, you get some really smart delivered jokes, written jokes, verbal jokes that work really well. They are followed up by lazy jokes, and I definitely laughed less than I laughed more. In a comedy, you definitely want to laugh every few moments, and that's not really the case for me for this movie. But the movie's not bad. I wasn't sitting there waiting for it to be over. It is a little long. I think maybe cutting about 10 minutes out of the movie would have been beneficial. Especially there's a scene with Maya Rudolph and Tim Meadows at a drive-in theater, and it really goes nowhere. It kind of plays into the end, but it goes on for so long, and it's not funny, and it doesn't work. There's also weird callbacks to other Adam Sandler films, so I don't know if he was feeling nostalgic when he was writing this movie or what, but like there's callbacks to O'Doyle from Billy Madison, like scattered throughout the entire movie. At one point, I'm guessing there was another Billy Madison reference that they put in now the end credits, because It's an Adam Sandler movie, so they have like 5 minutes of kind of blooperish credits. So I don't know why that is. But there are multiple references throughout the movie. Some of the other stuff that's weird is like there's an inhaler joke in the movie, where Hubie's like taking an inhaler, and then he's like kind of like slowly letting the air out. But then like 10 minutes later, it's followed up by an inhaler joke with Tim Meadows. But it's not like a callback joke. It's not like a running gag where all of these characters have inhalers or that would be the smart thing. Oh, we keep calling back that everybody has an inhaler and everybody uses it the same way or something like that. Or, if there'd been a scene of Tim Meadows making fun of Hubie for having an inhaler and then he uses an inhaler, like it's not a great joke, but at least would have tied in. Instead, there's just two different inhaler jokes that feel both kind of lazy. And don't really work. So it's just kind of bizarre that there's just little things like that in the movie that just don't really come together. I will say the film actually has a pretty smart twist for what it is. There's kind of a twist ending in the movie that works fairly well. And ultimately the film does wrap up with a if not obvious, but fairly harmless moral. And it's the same kind of moral that, again, I guess I've said it like 3 times, but kind of spoilers. But it's the same kind of moral that Sandler has dealt with in previous films, which is like just be nice to people. I mean, which isn't, again, it's not an inherently bad moral. If you're gonna make movies, it's literally the same as 8 Crazy Nights, and I actually think this is better than 8 Crazy Nights. I'm not an 8 Crazy Nights fan. It's basically, hey, this guy's been nice to everybody, but you guys aren't being nice to him. And then it wraps up with this cheesy ending where, of course, everything works out and just this one moment changes everybody and everything. Because the entire time, the town is just, like, mean to Hubie for no reason. Like, I could kind of understand if he was troublesome, like in terms of maybe he, is clumsy, so he... Maybe they even did something where he accidentally destroys like the town's Halloween decorations or some reason to give the entire town a reason to be angry at him. But there isn't. He's just a nice kind of weird guy, but he's not mean. He's kind to everybody. And it'd be one thing if there were just specific characters that were mean to him. But it's not the case. The entire city of Salem, except for his love interest, hates him. And there's just no reason for it. And then, of course, it gets wrapped up in the end. But, like, it's just kind of weird. It's just kind of a weird setup that's what they chose to do. Ultimately, though, Hubie Halloween is like its message, very harmless. It's not, it's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe it's just because of everything going on this year. It was kind of nice to sit there and watch a movie where Adam Sandler was just kind of playing a goof. The movie's not overly mean-spirited. Yes, there are mean characters in it, but the movie's not as crude or as crass as it could have been, which again is like fine if it's well done. But like Adam Sandler just kind of tends to throw in, like I said, like bodily function jokes or offensive jokes or things like that. And honestly, this movie's fairly harmless. There's nothing in it that's super mean-spirited other than some characters, calling Hubie names and things like that. But overall, it's fine. You could do way worse, in terms of watching a bad movie. If you don't like Adam Sandler at all, Hubie Halloween is not going to be the movie that changes your mind. It's still an Adam Sandler film. Like I said, all the tropes he uses are still there. If you're sick of seeing Adam Sandler's friends pop up in movies, like Kevin James or Rob Schneider or things like that, you're not gonna like this. If you just don't find Adam Sandler funny, you're not going to like this. If you're a big Adam Sandler fan and you've watched all his stuff and you really enjoy his movies, you'll obviously enjoy this. It's Adam Sandler playing like a weird character. If you're like me and you're somewhere in the middle where you don't hate Adam Sandler, you like some of his older stuff, but some of his newer stuff just doesn't appeal to you, you might get a kick out of this. You might find some laughs in it, and if you're just trying to waste like 90 minutes or so, it's actually like an hour 42, but then it's got like 10 minutes of credits, so really it's like 90 minutes. If you're just trying to waste some time and watch something kind of Halloween themed that's, fairly inoffensive, not the smartest movie ever made, but also, you know, not completely awful. Hubie Halloween's fun. It's a fun watch. I don't think it'll become part of my yearly rotation in terms of Halloween movies, but maybe you'll enjoy it more than I do. But did you watch Hubie Halloween? Let me know. Did you like it more than I did? Did you like it less than I did? Leave a comment. On top of that, if you want to see more videos like this, you can check out Impromptu Reviews, which is all my videos like this, where it's just movie reviews off the top of my head. You can check out Fright Films, which is my horror movie analytical show. I got some artwork videos on the channel, some food reviews, all kinds of stuff. So subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.